Hello and welcome to the Outlet Podcast channel. My name is Gazy, and this is the In the Beginning Was the Word Book Club, episode number 4 of The Diary of a Young Girl, Anne Frank. Now, we're doing two books simultaneously when it comes to this series because personally, I can't just read one book because I just like lose interest. Like on my personal devotions and my personal time, I've been, all reading the Bible, but I've also been reading this book right here, Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. This one really, it it makes my imagination like go like crazy, and I love it. I love imagining different worlds and different time periods, maybe, and that's probably why I love superheroes so much. But in this series, I have to do two books, so we're going to be discussing Anne Frank. And remember the two rules that the syllabus, the two rules that I have for the Outlet Podcast In the Beginning Was the Word Book Club. And number one is that you read every day. Read every day. I've already read these books, so it's just a matter of me sitting down and actually doing some video content behind the webcam, behind the camera. So I've already read these books, and I'm actually happy to have come to these conclusions. And remember, rule number two is that we're reading for comprehension, not to show off, not to for memorization, to just like quote off various quote off quotes and all that stuff. No. We're reading for comprehension so that you and we can actually be more well-rounded individuals. So that's the only things. That's the only as far as reading goes. That's all I do. I just want to read for myself and read to become a better person. And this young girl definitely, like through her life experiences, I was able to become more well-rounded. And I want to share the next few pages with you. So I'm just gonna read like small selections. I'll be reading in page 168, and all of this is going to be about Anne Frank's um, retrospective, and it's pretty cool. So let me share some. Let me share some words with you. I if I think now, my life in 1942, it all seems so unreal. It was quite different. It was a quite different Anne who enjoyed that heavenly existence from the Anne who has grown wise within these walls. Yes, it was a heavenly life. Boyfriends at every turn, about 20 friends and acquaintances of my own age, the darling of nearly all of the teachers, spoiled to the top of the toe, to the top to the toe by mummy and daddy, lots of sweets, enough pocket money. What more could one want? Now, page 169. Now I look back at that Anne as an amusing but very superficial girl who has nothing to do with the Anne of today. Peter said quite rightly about me, if I ever saw you, you were always surrounded by two or more boys and a whole troop of girls. You were always laughing and always the center of everything. What is left of this girl? Oh, don't worry. I've forgotten how to laugh or to answer back readily. I'm just as good, if not better, at criticizing people, and I can still flirt if I wish. That's not it though. I like that sort of life again, even for an evening, a few days, or even a week. The life which seems so carefree and gay. But at the end of that week, I should be dead beat and would be only too thankful to listen to anyone who began to talk about something sensible. I don't want followers, but friends, admirers who fall for a flattering smile, but for what one does and for one's character. So here we have this girl who's come full circle. Now, I'm not talking about the suffering and the her penultimate peril that she ended up having at the end of her life. I'm not talking about that, because she was already well-rounded and she was already actualized. Her personality had been changed. Here I'm looking at a girl who's looked back only in 2 years and has grown up in such a way, who's matured so fast, and realized the process. I really, really love this girl, and I really, really love what it means that she wrote down what she did, because there are many people who grow up, but they fail to recognize how they grew up. Because you can grow up, you can be a millionaire, you can do anything. But if you don't recognize certain steps that you have had to take, then you won't be conscious of it. Then you won't be a conscious individual. Like, for someone to say I'm a millionaire, but fails to recognize the fact that it was mom and dad who put that $1 million in a savings account for me. Well, congratulations. You are a millionaire, but you didn't work for it. So the ethics, the morality, the structure, the hard times you did not have because you didn't work for it at all. Here we have a girl who looks back on being the popular girl, the darling, as she describes herself. This is who she used to be. She was the favorite. Everybody was always around her. And yet that wasn't enough. It's like, I think in life people end up going through trials such like this because, in my personal opinion, I feel that God wants us to see what he sees. Now you can be like, well, Gazy, why would God want you to go through hardships and stuff? Well, number one, there's a difference in between a trial and a problem. I was explaining to a Sunday school class, you bring about the problems in your life. You do that, or it's done on you. Regardless if it's you or not, though, that's what problems are. Trials are about your character. If your parents don't have enough money and you are 18 years old and you selflessly go to school and go to work and you give your mom or your dad money to pay the rent and stuff, if that is you, I want to congratulate you. That says a lot about you. That's really cool that you do that. Or if you're 17 years old and you're working just so hard so that you can make your own future, you're saving money so you can go to college. You don't want to be a burden on anyone else. That says a lot about you. Those are trials. Those are issues, hardships. Some people go through trials that just all of a sudden go on, that happen out of nowhere. When I was in high school, I wouldn't have graduated high school because there was a class I had forgotten to take. And that was a trial because now, after my actual high school day, I had to stay after. And I stayed after for a long time too, and I had to learn the subject matter myself because the teacher was actually just there to just watch us. She didn't really teach us anything, so I had to go through the materials online as well as in textbook. Certain things are for you to see. God already sees it. In my opinion, God sees who you are going to be, and He wants you to develop. God wants you to develop as an individual, but there are sometimes we throw stones in our own paths and we trip ourselves up. We don't practice safe sex, and what happens? We get a girl pregnant. Now, depending on how you want to live your life, either you deal with the guilt of knowing that girl had an abortion, you deal with that for the rest of your life, or now you have a baby mama because maybe you don't love the girl, but guess what? You still got responsibilities that you got to pay for. So now you got a baby's mom that you got to, give money to, or now you need to start. Now you're going to try to start a family with the mother of your child. Problems that you bring on yourself. I'm not saying that, a child is a problem, but I'm saying that it was an unnecessary issue to bring, as an unnecessary thing to bring about in your life. Anne Frank, she never Like, she never brought that about. Like, all this was thrown on top of her. And when I look about her lifestyle and how she was kind of spoiled, and she had a smart tongue. She used to like talk back to people. But now she's more matured. And isn't it good in life when you can actually look back and see who you used to be, and now that you're someone different? Like, if you look back at your life, I don't know at what stages you are, but if you look back, have you changed for the good, for the bad? What mistakes have you made? Go back. Maybe you can change it. Or if you can't change it, then for the next issue that comes into your life, whether it is a problem that you brought about or a trial that comes from the middle of nowhere, that's where they come from. Like, God allows things to happen, but they can come from, like, I don't know, from out of left field. All of a sudden your father loses his job. All of a sudden you get kicked out of your home for something that you didn't do. Like, listen, life is unbelievably crazy. It's chaotic. The way the way your neighbors live their lives, the way I've lived my life, or you have lived your life, it's a whirlwind, and we're all trying to find like stable ground. We are all just trying to find stable ground. So I would just like to say to you, um, in what ways could you be better? In what ways, like, looking back at your life, have you changed for the better? You can still change for the better. It all depends on you. You know, as a Christian, I say that I lift my eyes up to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. You know, He's who I go to. He is the one who gives me strength to overcome my addictions, my problems. God gives me the strength to overcome, and so that I can thank Him for His strength, for allowing me to achieve levels of progress where I can look back, and say, wow, I used to be there, but now I'm up here, and it's all thanks to you. That's how I get by. That's how I get by. This is a part of in the beginning was the word book club, but I don't know if you want to be a Christian or not. If not, I would recommend you can be an ethical person. You can be an amazing moral person in life, but you have to make that decision. You have to make the decision to change. You have to make the decision to grow up. You have to make those. There's a lot of things that come into play when it comes to growing up. And for Anne Frank, it just took 2 years being stuck in a secret annex. Now, maybe you need a secret annex. Maybe I need a secret annex. But looking back at her life, maybe it would be good to have an annex. Because even though her life resulted in the way that it did, that didn't take anything away from that young girl. That's what really puts a smile on my face. That she died as such an example. So yeah, you guys, this has been the In the Beginning Was the Word book club. This is episode number 4 in the series The Diary of a Young Girl, written by Anne Frank. So pick up the books if you haven't picked it up yet. Go ahead and read, follow along, pass it, and just comment down below. Like about stages in life that you have overcome, because I would love to read those and be inspired myself. So write those down in the comment below, like and subscribe to this channel, and receive more various other types of content as far as inspirational entertainment. So you guys, with the Outlet Podcast and vlogs, I'm your host, Gazy. Connect and recharge.